Sharing testimony isn't always easy, especially when the backstory is filled with trepidation, abuse, emotional and physical trauma. But then there's the flip side, knowing the Almighty has a plan, which helps guide the process in a smoother way so the listener can better understand the reasons behind sharing. Knowing this, I can more easily share my testimony, even though in my past I kept silent because of negative triggers and the backlash from manipulators in my family, plus having post-traumatic stress, which causes blackouts and whiteouts and horrible insomnia. The dread was so bad, it just filled my memory and made me silent because of the trauma I endured as a child. And being a girl who wasn't treated as such, I was shifted from home to home. Then I started running away and sneaking out, and I ended up in foster care, jail, and a haunted orphanage. And all of these things happened before I was mature enough to really know what was going on. And because there were so many different male influences around me that included sexual predators, alcoholics, also known as drinkers, addicts, and those who were physically abusing my mom, me, and my siblings, these men caused me serious damage, even though they had a military background. Most of them were womanizers. I saw and heard and endured things that no child should see or go through, especially men being rude, pushy, indirectly blaming women or females around them, their drunken stupors, and their sexual storytelling, things that no one should hear, but I heard it all. And then there was the forceful physical punishment, sarcastic remarks about women's bodies, and the forced sexual activity on children and myself, the grooming by the males, and the quiet consent of the women around those men who controlled them. My world as a child was tumultuous, unnecessarily manipulated by men who were otherwise supposedly upstanding to others around them in our community, including those who professed Christianity and being educated and having been raised by two parents who loved them. What this caused me was deep emotional trauma, years of allowing further abuse by any man that came into my life. I was so submissive to a point that my relationships with everyone I was so submissive to a point in all of my relationships, not just with male counterparts, but it hinged on my ability to overcome, which was used against me in a negative way. It hinged on my caretaking abilities and my ability to overcome any terrible situation. But believe me, I was not completely unscathed. But I was complicit because I thought narcissistic control and manipulation was normal, because the male role models had shown me, and so I understood that my foundations of being mature were nothing of the sort, and it got worse and worse the longer this went on. These individuals proved to me they were untrustworthy, brash, jealous, unkind. They were always comparing me to someone else. They were impatient, ruthless, abusive, and would take everything from me and give me nothing back but pain. And I learned this from the father figures that I had around me. My own biological father, my stepfather, my foster parents, my uncles, and people that said they were my role models and I better listen. But I needed to be silent and listen. I needed to be seen and not heard. That I was never going to amount to anything. And the more I believed them, the more I continued. Eventually, I thought I was never going to amount to anything. And the more I believed them, the more convinced I was that I would just end up being nothing. I would never have an education, that I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, that I was nothing to everyone. And so I acted that way. I was nothing to even myself. It's painful, but it's true. I felt like a complete failure my whole life until I sought deliverance. Matthew 7:7 encourages us to ask, and it will be given to you, to seek, and you will find, knock, and it will be open to you. Everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open.